Okay, welcome back to the next video. We're going to talk about trending here. Now, obviously, why is trending good? Because it's trending. So, people have already a thirst for what it is they are talking about. Channels that talk about trending topics piggyback exactly on the back of trends. So, for example, when the Queen Elizabeth passed away, lots of people were searching online for Queen Elizabeth. In the finals of the Soccer World Cup, lots of people are searching for football content. For example, when these things happen, people are searching for them. There are some topics that people are searching for more generally all year round, and some are time specific. The good thing about having a YouTube channel is you can piggyback exactly when things happen. So this channel does things like everything from, let's go into their videos and check. Tallest building. Now this is more general. People are gonna be searching for that very specific. It's not for the rest of the world. Top 15 richest people in the world has mass interest. People care about money. Dubai. So Elon Musk planned to mine this asteroid. Maybe if you launch that as SpaceX were putting their rocket into space, or when Michael Jordan was in the news, you could talk about Michael Jordan on here. You could piggyback on there's loads of videos were going out about Coca-Cola about a year ago. I was seeing, so they were probably watching YouTube and seeing what happened and piggybacking on the back of that. So how do you find trends? You can quite simply go to sites like, let me grab here and we could check. Let's search Google Trends. So you can use something like Google Trends to see what's working. Overall, you have to take it with a pinch of salt. Let me, I don't know, it's giving me some examples here. Let's search for example, if I wanted to make let's talk about the last one when we were talking about sports, right? And I was searching for UFC. And I'm going to search, does it have a good, now you can use, this is web search. We're going to make YouTube, so only use YouTube search. I want to target primarily the United States. I can see that right now, it had a huge search between the 4th and the 10th of September compared to the whole year. That's because they had the Nate Diaz fight, as we spoke about. Now, if I was to compare this, maybe I want to make a UFC channel, maybe I want to make, I don't know, an NBA channel, and I want to see which has more. NBA organically has loads more search than the UFC does comparatively, and I can see it in different states too. So NBA has more search, but you don't just want to search that. You'll be more specific. NBA be like Michael Jordan or whoever's in the news right now. And you talk about trending. It's a good way to find what's trending. Another good way is to just search into this box here, and you can also see trending on home, and you can see what's trending in here. You can see what's coming on, scams, things that are suggested for you. You can start searching in here. If I go Michael Jordan, highlights are coming in, Kobe Bryant's death, interview, motivation, dunks. You can start seeing what's coming out. But trends is a good one, obviously, because you can trend on what's happening. Now, this is the only example I think I've got that is non-niche specific, as tight as I would always like it. I would, once again, when you're starting a channel and you're talking about trend, keep it trends in your niche. You can just talk about things that are in the news right now that are trending and do a top channel about trends. Once again, using top 10 is a great way to get a lot of content and get clicks out there when you launch. But trends can be the widest of all the niches that I'm discussing in here. But if possible, keep your trends within a niche. If you're talking about richest people trends, who are the celebrities being talked about right now? Celebrity trends. We're talking about that in a moment. Over here, you can try and keep your trending still as tight as possible, but it is possible to make it about whatever you want because you are purely piggybacking on trends. Once again, the danger comes that if I'm interested in Elon Musk when I release the video, and then you put out the tallest building in the world, I don't care about the tallest building. I do care about Elon Musk. It's hard to get me to click both videos. But once again, this channel that has 5 million subscribers, and we talk about it in the research section to find newer channels, they can pretty much put out whatever they want. I would keep the trending still within a tighter niche, but you don't have to. Trending in itself can be a channel. Make it a top 10, top 5 to start with. Countdown, give retention like this video does perfect. Top 15 richest people. Easy for you to make it to a video like that. And then broaden it. Okay, let's go into the next video now. I want to talk about richest, because money is always a good one. One, because you might fall into the finance category and get better ads, a better CPM. Also, everyone who's watching YouTube, everyone who's watching, we all have a job. We all need to earn money. You're watching this because you want to create a channel to make money, I expect. Everybody cares about money. Let's talk about money.